It's been a whirlwind in women's basketball lately. Caitlin Clark's new partnership with Unrivaled shows she's becoming a transcendent brand, reaching audiences who might not have even known about women's basketball otherwise. And you're absolutely right, Unrivaled missed a huge opportunity by not recruiting her earlier. They tried to stack their roster with talent, but Clark is exactly the kind of generational star who commands attention and grows a sport. This deal likely amplifies her influence even more, with fans on both sides of the Clark-Reese rivalry now more energized. And the newbie league. It's struggling to find its place, trying to bring in marquee names but overlooking the organic fan bases that players like Clark can cultivate.
I mean, why would Angel Reese want Caitlin Clark in this new league? If Caitlin Clark is there, the spotlight of Angel Reese, it becomes a shadow.
Exactly. It's like they threw every big name they could find into the mix without thinking about actual chemistry, leadership, or fan appeal. A'ja Wilson and the other stars they signed are amazing players, but Unrivaled completely misread what makes people tune in. Clark isn't just a star, she's the asterisk face who could have instantly elevated them from startup league to serious contender. The fact that they didn't lock her in from the start is baffling. By the time they circled back to Clark, they were probably scrambling to salvage whatever credibility they had left. It's clear Unrivaled didn't do their homework.
Unfortunately, it's a star that most people don't like.
Unrivaled's pivot to Clark is a classic case of too little too late in the sports world. Angel Reese must be furious. She was positioned as one of their centerpieces, and now she's watching Clark get the full superstar treatment she probably thought would be hers. They tried to build hype with Reese and A'ja Wilson, but Clark's appeal cuts differently. She's that once-in-a-generation player who pulls in casual fans, hardcore fans, and everyone in between. And now Unrivaled is probably hemorrhaging cash to land her, all while Reese sees her own spotlight dimming in Clark's orbit. Their lack of vision turned the whole thing into a desperate cash-burning circus. Like you said, instead of the powerhouse league it could have been if they'd understood Clark's significance from day one.
Now they're realizing we might need Caitlin.
Unrivaled came in with this grand vision of transforming women's basketball, but they completely missed that one crucial factor, a true headliner. Caitlin Clark has that magic. She could single-handedly make this league watchable with her fan base following wherever she goes. Without her, they're just another startup league with a lineup full of almost and Maves asterisk. And the fact that they went after a quantity over quality approach just shows how out of touch they are. To captivate sports fans, they need someone who isn't just good but game-changing, a player who can put them on the map and make people care. Right now, Unrivaled is like a three-ring circus with empty seats, hoping for a spark that isn't coming without a name like Clark's.
They are offering Caitlin Clark $1 million for 2 months of her services. $1 million to carry a new basketball league from January to March.
Unrivaled's lofty ambition of changing women's basketball sounds almost laughable when their roster lacks a single must-see player like Caitlin Clark. She's a one-woman phenomenon capable of making waves in any league, and without her, they're not exactly setting the world ablaze. Their roster is loaded with solid talent, sure, but nothing that has casual fans clamoring to tune in or buy tickets. Clark alone could electrify their league and boost it beyond a niche audience, but instead, Unrivaled looks like a patchwork of solid, but relatively anonymous names. It's a clear case of overpromising and underdelivering. Instead of the game-changing league they envisioned, Unrivaled now looks like a forgettable project that banked on star power it doesn't have.
Unrivaled is going to feature the 30 best pretend basketball players, with the vast majority of them being anonymous. Now, they do have one star committed to playing in the league.
Unrivaled's back and forth on Caitlin Clark is a masterclass in how not asterisk to secure a superstar. By undermining Clark publicly, they not only alienated her, but sent a confusing message to fans. It's baffling. If she's the golden ticket, why waste time on negative PR? They've turned what should have been a straightforward courtship into a chaotic scramble, proving just how disconnected they are from their audience and from Clark's undeniable value. Contrast this with Ice Cube's Big 3 League, where Clark was respected from day one. Ice Cube didn't mess around with vague social media stunts or petty engagement tactics. He saw her worth immediately, offering her a deal so enticing that it even overshadowed contracts he'd offered to former NBA players. The Big Three's approach was no-nonsense, professional, and clear, a stark difference from Unrivaled's amateur hour. Now, Unrivaled is offering Clark a messy-level deal with an ownership stake and $1 million for just 2 months, practically begging her to save their league. It reeks of desperation, especially when you compare it to the Big Three's straightforward, respectful offer. Unrivaled is left throwing cash like confetti, hoping it can patch up months of mismanagement. But Clark's the kind of player who doesn't just want money. She wants vision, respect, and a solid foundation.
And in the same vein, they were also liking negative comments about Caitlin Clark from the official Unrivaled basketball Instagram account, like during the season. So all of these things were just not a good look.
Absolutely, Unrivaled's last-minute offer is as transparent as it gets. It's painfully obvious this is about salvaging their league after months of missteps, not a genuine appreciation for Caitlin Clark's talent. If they actually valued her, they would have locked her in from day one. Instead, they tried everything else, and now with their plans flopping, they're scrambling to cover their mistakes by throwing a boatload of cash at her. Clark's not just any player, she's a generational talent who deserves more than to be the league's Hail Mary. It's not enough to realize her value in a panic. True respect would have meant being the first to her door, building the league around her vision, and avoiding the PR mess that's tarnished their brand. Unrivaled's approach is like putting a band-aid on a sinking ship. They're hoping Clark takes the bait, but it's clear they only come knocking now because every other option has fallen flat.
Unrivaled League needs Caitlin Clark, and they are preparing to offer her a massive deal. But is it all too little too...
You're spot on. Clark has everything to lose and little to gain by aligning herself with a shaky, unproven league like Unrivaled. This isn't just about cash, it's about protecting her brand and legacy. Unrivaled lacks stability, credibility, and a solid vision. She'd be risking her hard-earned reputation on a league that had shown more inconsistency than promise. With no track record, no established fan loyalty, and a botched recruitment strategy, Unrivaled is not exactly the partnership Clark needs. Clark's brand thrives on excellence and game-changing performances, not desperation and uncertainty. The question isn't just whether Clark should sign, but if Unrivaled has done anything to earn her. Right now, they look more like a liability than an opportunity, and she has every reason to keep her distance from a league that might not even survive its inaugural season.
Caitlin Clark doesn't need any money. She has plenty of endorsement deals. I think she is totally fine. And I think for her body and for her mental health, it might not be the best thing for her.
Angel Reese's reaction to Caitlin Clark's $1 million Unrivaled deal is a mix of drama and irony, and it's impossible not to find the humor in it. Reese used to downplay Clark's status, acting as if she was just another competitor, yet the second Clark lands a $1 million deal, Reese's reaction flips entirely. It's almost comical how fast the MB surfaced, especially considering her $75,000 WNBA salary in comparison. This reaction is a window into just how massive Clark's star power and market value have become. Reese, who's built her own brand, has to watch as Clark secures the kind of deal that most WNBA players only dream about. The transparency of her jealousy is on full display, and it's not subtle. It's like watching a rivalry unfold in real time, with Reese now realizing just how wide the gap has grown between her and the most marketable player in the game.
So do I think Caitlin Clark should join Unrivaled? I'm not so sure. I think that the money needs to be high. It needs to be in the millions. It needs to be at least what Cube offered her for the big three at minimum.
The irony of Angel Reese's situation is almost too rich. For months, she downplayed Caitlin Clark's significance, convinced she could thrive without her. Now that Clark has landed that lucrative Unrivaled deal, Reese's narrative has flipped dramatically, revealing her envy and frustration. It's like she's been forced to reckon with Clark's unparalleled market power and influence, which she can't ignore any longer. Reese and Audrey Wilson are both recognizable names in the WNBA, yet they're stuck watching Clark leapfrog over them in endorsements. While they might publicly support Unrivaled's move, there's no denying the sting of watching someone else pull in the kind of cash they've only dreamed about. Clark's deals with major brands like Nike and State Farm underscore the financial disparity in women's basketball, and you can almost see the frustration radiating from Reese as she grapples with that reality. Now, if Clark decides to join Unrivaled, it raises serious questions about the WNBA's ability to retain its top talent. If other players start eyeing Clark's payday and considering their own financial struggles, the league could face a significant talent drain. With top players potentially jumping ship for better pay, a WNBA would be in a precarious position. As for Unrivaled, they staked everything on Clark. If she doesn't come aboard, they're left with nothing but a half-baked concept and an empty roster. They're banking on her ability to elevate a shaky startup and hoping her star power will make up for their lack of foundational strength. Without Clark, they risk falling into obscurity, proving that their entire existence hinges on a single player's decision. The whole situation is not just a challenge for Unrivaled, it's a wake-up call for the WNBA, highlighting the urgent need for better financial support and recognition of its athletes' value.